So, the topic of Jesus appearing in visions is on my mind today. I guess it's something I'm meant to revisit in my soul and to process it from the many different possible angles or angels of light. And so one could say this is going to be hard to put into words because it's new. I'm still tapping into my soul, my psyche, to try and define it. The question came up for me about little children that see apparitions or visions of Jesus. And I had been wondering, why is it that they see Jesus? And why is it that mostly the apparition is always of Jesus? Why isn't Ra appearing? Or one of the other emanations of the light and the different identities that it has appeared? Why is it always Jesus? Why is Jesus always appearing? Does he have some kind of preeminence, or is that just the imprint in our soul memory that's most prevalent? Well, I understand or understand that if my multidimensional self would appear to me in an apparition, my heavenly body would appear in an apparition, I would be as glorious as Jesus, and yet I am not appearing in people's visions. Why? Because there is no knowledge of me as renegade. Can you imagine the angel renegade? There's no knowledge of such an angel, and yet I exist multidimensionally in heaven right now as I am walking on the earth. I think there is even a scripture verse that I puzzled over a long time. It says something about the Son of Man being in heaven while standing on the earth. And now I understand, in the context of this musing, what it means. While I am on the earth, my multidimensional self, soul consciousness, is also in heaven, in all of the other dimensions. But my point is, why am I not appearing to people in visions? As I said, there is no written history of my consciousness. It hasn't been aggregated in the way it has for Jesus. I mean, the history of Jesus, the written history, the shared history of Jesus is thick. And it's engraved in the collective psyche. But why does, for instance, Sanat Kumara not appear to people's visions? Again, because Sanat Kumara's records or history is too ancient and too far removed, and we have not been familiarized with his story as we have with Jesus. It's just that Jesus' story has been so widely published over the last 2,000 years that is the predominant manifestation and figure and avatar that we associate with God, with the heavenly man. And yet I too am that quote unquote heavenly man, not in the sense of gender, but that heavenly being. I am just as glorious as Jesus in my heavenly dimensional body, but nobody is calling for me, so I'm not showing up that way. That is the explanation that I would give for it now. Now, the thing is with Christians is when they have these visions of the higher dimensional body of Jesus, the celestial Jesus, they make the mistake and turn it into worship, into worshiping the apparition, the consciousness. And they make the distinction. See, that's being a person of the flesh, in the flesh, with an ego. We make a thing out of these things once we come back into the third dimensional awareness. And there is something in the book of Revelation that I was impressed upon. When John saw the angel, I think it's in chapter 2, I'm not sure now. But when John saw the angel, which I believe to be Jesus now, and even if it's not Jesus, the point that this angel made is when John fell down at his feet to worship, he said, "Don't do it. Don't worship me, for I am of your brethren and fellow servants, the prophets." Meaning, I am just like you. I'm just in the glorified form, in the glorified body, not in an earth body. Just because we are in an earth body, on earth, doesn't make us any less glorious, but our shine is concealed. Our brightness is concealed here, and it gives us the illusion of separation. We're not separate. Like when we get into the higher dimensions of heaven, everything merges into one. Jesus is no longer separate. We're all merging back into the one consciousness that we call God or the divine. So just the further away from the heavenly dimension we are, the further separation is defined. And of course, here on earth, it's most defined. Everything is individuated, and we can't see the translucent, what's the name? Translucentness of consciousness, how it permeates, how the same consciousness and glory permeates every materialized thing and being, because we are veiled to that reality. That's why we think that Jesus is different from us, because we see him in his shining electromagnetic rainbow body, and we only see ourselves in these flesh and blood bodies, and we don't value them the same. But it says each body has its own glory in Corinthians. So we need to stop with the distinguishing of one over the other. It's all glorious in its own way. And you and I are as glorious as Jesus just because we're not aware of our heavenly body. Doesn't make us any less. So, yeah, if we wouldn't worship that which we don't understand and make a religion out of it and elevate this one appearance over everyone else, it's idolatry. And the Bible doesn't even condone idolatry. It calls it out as a bad thing. So let's not be idolaters of heavenly people.